All right, in this week's Splice of the Week, we're actually going to be doing some whippings, some finishing of the ends of some lines. So, we've got one end of our halyard, and we're going to be putting in a Flemish Eye or a reeving eye. So the first things first, I want to make sure this end's tied off. The other end, I've got this halyard all coiled up, so it's fine. So what you're going to do is you extract the core out the end just like that. You get about a foot out there, and then I just cut it just on the back side of the tape. Cut that out, and now this is all hollow in here up to about here. And so now what we do is you can take your end, your bitter end there, get that out of the way, and we'll just cut away half of the strands. Get that out of the way, and now take our nice little season wire splicing one that you can easily make. It's just a piece of season wire bent in half, and then I put a little halyard stop ball on the end so you get something to pull against. Alright, so you're going to go right to the end of where the core inside the cover stops, and you stick your little fid in there, and go just a few inches, and you pop it out nice and easy. And now that we've got half the strands cut away, and what you do is you're going to open it up just like this, and then you're actually going to bend it back on itself. That way it stays the same diameter. So now, just like that, you could tape that if you wanted to. Obviously I'm not, you can just pull it together and pull it in there. Nice and easy, like that. So it comes out there. And now, pull the rest of the way. You don't want to pull all the way, but then I'm going to just cut the end off here. Pull that away. And then we're going to just kind of milk this back down. Boom, got that like that. So now, there's the eye, and then we're going to grab our whipping twine here, our whipping needle. Boom, got it like that. And just go ahead and stitch across. You could do like a lock stitch back and forth right there if you wanted. And we're just going to kind of go fancy here. So molten that, pull it back in. So it's in there, it locks it in. And then you're just going to go ahead and wrap it tight like I always do. Just nice and tight. Okay. And then you're going to go back across. Boom. Cross again. You see it's going across like that. Goes like that. And then we're going to go one more time. And that's like a lock stitch, and then you get the fancy whipping. It just finishes off nicely. Makes it look professional. And then we cut that off and melt it, and you can see. And there we go. So that is our reeving eye or Flemish eye. And then now you could take a piece of tagline and tie it to your tagline that's going in the up inside the mast, so you can pull it through nice and easily without getting snagged up on a sheave. So that's one way how to do a Flemish eye. We got another piece of line here that we can do another Flemish eye with. So same thing, as you just can take it and knot it off the end here. That way when you milk the cover back, you don't lose all that cover. Alright, so now got it like that. So do the same way as we did last time, is you extract some core out, and then you're gonna get about a foot out there, and then this time you can see I left the tape on the end. Get that guy out of there. We cut off about a foot just like last time. Boom. So we've got this tape here on the end, and what that does is you can take a fid, and this is 5/16 long. Let's see here if we can get away with. Usually the bigger the fid, the better that you can slide in. So let's see what happens. So now, this from here, there's core still there, and there's not. So what we're gonna do is you can stick the fid inside here, and this is instead of using our wire fid, you can use your regular hollow fid. I'm just going to stick it in just for about a couple inches there. It's going to come out right where the core starts. And now you can either, with that taped in, you can either stick it inside there and tape it in there. or we can use a pusher, and I'll show you guys how we use the pusher. So I flatten out this tape spot right here, and then you can use the kind of the edge here, and that you can use it to bend it in half, and then you can fit inside. It makes it fit nicer. So now it's in there, and you could tape it off there. Taping works, it's just not as efficient, and when you're getting paid to do the splice, you got to be as efficient as possible. So you can use our pusher, and as you can see, I sharpen my pushers. It makes it a little bit more dangerous, I guess, because normally they come nice and blunt, but this just makes it nice and easier for jamming it in inside the fid. And all you do is you jam it in there, you get a little bit of rope with it, and you put it in the hollow end, and you're gonna push, and you push right through, pull it out, right away, and so now you've got it through, just like that. And just like last time, we'll cut off the end here, put that away, and then we can go ahead and whip. And we'll use black just so you guys can see for the contrast. Whip it up really quick, and then that one will be done. Put it through, cut it so they're even, melt it up real quick, pull it in, and then we'll go ahead and wrap it around. And normally, I mean, you know, it's just aesthetics, but I try to go like the line diameter. That's how many wraps around I go. But it doesn't matter. It's not a strength thing. It's just a visual thing. And then just same as all the other times when I whip, I'm just going across. Going across one more time. And then we're going to cut it. And melt it. And just knock it out like that. Alright, so that is two different ways how to do the Flemish Eye. So I'm going to show you here a way how to whip high-tech lines. So high-tech lines, the cover is going to be stretchy, but the core, because it's a high-tech line, it's going to be a lower stretch line. So whenever, let's go ahead and we'll just milk this out here. Yeah, get that milk like that. So whenever you whip high-tech lines, you never want to stitch the cover to the core, because what happens is the cover is going to stretch as it gets pleated and goes over the sheave, but the core is going to stay the same length. And what happens is that the cover will actually bunch up, and if it's a spinnaker halyard and you're letting that spinnaker halyard down really quickly, that balloon of extra cover, because it's stretched out over time, is going to keep working its way, and then it's going to eventually hit a spot at the clutch, and it'll actually kind of blow up. It literally will pop like a balloon, and your cover will be blown open and your core will be hanging out. So what you do is we're going to pull out a little bit of the core, cut it off about an inch or so, put that away, get this out of the picture here. So we cut off a little bit there, and now what we're going to do is we're going to milk this back down. And now, if you look about the last inch here, there's no core inside there. And what I do is you can use your hot knife, or you can use your torch like what I do, and you melt the end here. And then you just give it a little squish, and cool off here for a second, and then you untake your tape. Alright, and then you've got it kind of fused together. Trim that, and then those little edges can be a little sharp, so I just kind of trim the side, and then you can come in with your torch and melt it so it's just nice and round, and that way it's not going to get hung up on anything. Okay, so now we've got the end fused. Now what you can do is you grab your whipping twine, and we just do a normal whip. So we go across it, give it a melt, pull it through, and then we're going to wrap it around here. Just like normal. Go back across, boom, cross again, boom, and one last time, cross it, and then you just pull it tight, melt the end, boom. So there we go. That's a whipped end on a high-tech line. So you can see the core is right here, but not here. I just stitch it to itself, so that way you're not going to explode the cover out of the core. So one other thing they can show you, so there's some lines, not this one, but there's some lines that the cover does not actually melt because it's got Technora in it, or Nomex, or Kevlar, or PBO, and all those do not like fire. They're fireproof essentially, and so you can't melt the ends. And so what we do is similar to a Flemish Eye. So we'll go ahead and just cut this end off as just a remnant, but we'll pretend this is one of those high-tech lines, the super high-tech with the high-tech covers. So to whip a high-tech cover, just like I'm just starting this fresh here, get that out of the way. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna pull out some core, and this time we're gonna pull, I don't know, about 3 or so inches. Give it a cut. All right, so now we're gonna milk that. So the last few inches, there's no core inside of it. Now we're gonna do like we've done in the past. We can either use the fid, or we can use my little wire fid here. So same thing, we kind of throw it out like a troll doll here, and then cut away half of it. Just jump out of the way. Then we're going to stick our fid in right at the end where right here there's core in there, and then also there's not core, so you can go right at the end of that. And then you're just going to go in about 1 inch or so, and then you're going to come back out, and you're going to grab this, and essentially we're just doing a Flemish Eye and pulling it back in on itself, doubles it up, and then you're going to pull that back inside, because remember, we're doing this because you cannot melt a high-tech cover, so we can't do a normal fused end. So now we've pulled it inside on itself, and it's just like if that was a Flemish Eye, but we just pull it all the way in, and we're going to pull a little bit more, and then you just cut it off. You see that's sticking out there, and then you can kind of massage it back down, and if you look, it's got a nice smooth end that's not going to unravel at all on you. And then you can always just do a little lock stitch in the end. I'll just go with some of this just because I got it right here. You can do a fancy whipping if you want to, or you can just do a quick little, just a little lock stitch just to hold that in place so that does not come undone. Boom. And I just do a little zigzag lock stitch back and forth, melt it, and that's it. And so it's nice and finished off, so you don't have to worry about your high-tech, high-end line to cover fraying on you, and makes it nice and easy for getting through clutches and stuff and other deck hardware. So that's it for finishing the ends of your lines. So we had the Flemish Eye, a couple different versions of the Flemish Eye, and then the whipped ends. So thank you for tuning into this week's Splice of the Week, and we'll see you guys next week. Thanks a lot. Testing out the new Rogue Rigging transportation. Be kit tested, rigger approved.
I want to do a 360. Oh no, there's a truck there.
You're fine, just turn.